welcome to the Cannabis Minority Report podcast, powered by the National Cannabis Industry Association, also known as the NCIA, one of the largest trade associations in the cannabis space to date. I am your host, Khadijah Adams. I am the founder of Girl Get That Money. I am also the founder of the Green Street Academy. So the goal of our show is really to highlight minority entrepreneurs in the cannabis and hemp space, share weekly news updates about what minorities are doing and actually bringing to the industry as a whole. And then we also like to interview minority entrepreneurs, minority-owned companies, companies that support social equity and social equity applicants themselves, as well as a host of other cannabis industry leaders and pioneers. Joining me today is my very special guest. His name is Keyston Franklin. He is the co-founder of Cannabis, Gallantri Industries, and Halo Holdings Group. So when we return from our commercial break, we're actually going to talk to him and we're going to catch you up on the latest news, but we're going to talk to him about Gallantri Industries because I found it very interesting in what they're doing. And I want to find out more about, social equity, what that means to him, and also find out about banking and safe banking in the cannabis space. So when we'll return, he's going to take us into his journey into the cannabis industry, and then we're going to cover some news right after these messages. If you're following us on Facebook, be sure to share. Also, get some of your friends involved. Tag your friends, let them take a look at what's going on, and that way we can actually make some comments with you right there in the comments down below. We'll talk to you soon. We'll be back.
What's up? I'm Vince, and this is NCIA's Industry Buzz. With the start of 2022 also comes the final year of the 117th Congress. Last year was marked with some small victories, although meaningful cannabis reform has yet to be enacted on the federal level. While it's a midterm election year, we here at NCIA have no doubt that we'll see some significant movement over the coming months. NCIA Deputy Director of Government Relations Michelle Rutter-Freeberg has taken to Industry Insights this week, as a matter of fact, to answer some of the frequently asked questions that she's fielded as one year comes to a close and the next dawned. Like, what's going on with safe banking? What's next for comprehensive cannabis reform? Is legalization on the horizon? What's going to happen at the committee level? Get answers from the expert at thecannabisindustry.org.
Hey guys, so we are back. So here's what I have been thinking about for a long time. We have been talking about safe banking in the cannabis industry for a long time, and just banking in general. And so many small mom and pops, they have been getting their checking accounts either frozen or locked up or whatever the case may be. Minorities are having a hard time in this industry actually, finding the right banking for them and banks that will even do business with us as minorities. And here's what I want y'all to know, and what you should know about cannabis in 2022 and beyond. So sales for cannabis in 2020 were about $20 million. I'm sorry, 20 billion with the B, $20 billion. And in 2021, they were expected to reach or exceed $26 billion. And then now we're talking about 20 to another 30% per year that it's going to grow and probably reach about $50 billion by 2026. First of all, that's about 4 years from now. But I want y'all to think about something. It's saying since 2020, right? And we've been actually doing this for a long time. And we hear about all of these mergers and acquisitions, 20 million raised here, 15 million raised there. Are you kidding me? Do you think these people are doing this in cash or using a bank, right? Are our mom and pops being singled out by the banking system? Are our minorities being singled out by the banking system? I want y'all to think about that, because if we're reporting numbers like this research was actually conducted by Cohen and Company, okay? Or Cowan and Company. They revealed that the legal cannabis market is bound to grow 20 to 30% per year to the price of $50 billion in 2026. Mind you, somebody's using the bank, okay? Banks are doing business with these people, right? And so my thought is, Why are we saying that there's no banking out there? And mind you, if there was no banking out there, how is it that the mom and pops are getting cut off from banking? I'm kind of confused with that whole situation. So anyway, the industry has been talking about safe banking or the lack thereof for cannabis industries, but for cannabis companies. But I want y'all to keep those numbers in mind. You know, they're not actually bringing millions of dollars in suitcases to one another. Okay, they're passing this money through some type of banking system. You know, whether they're setting up a corporate entity that's outside of the industry and running the funds through there, or whether they're going directly to the banks. We don't know. But what we do know is that they're not putting this money in a suitcase and actually driving it over to them. Okay, so these numbers can only be reported when the surveys are actually completed, right? And so somebody moving money, and we want to know why our mom and pops and minorities and Black and brown people are being left out of the safe banking and don't have safe banking. Is this why we're constantly being robbed in places like California, Illinois, and a few other places? Why are we being targeted? I want y'all to consider that, okay? Somebody's doing some kind of banking, and y'all need to answer that question, okay? Because I think it's really important for the federal government to answer that question. How are you guys getting paid taxes if there's no banking? Are we bringing you cash, or how's that playing out? Like, I'm confused. Anyways, all right, so enough of my soapbox, but I want y'all to really think about that, okay? And then don't forget, you guys, that, check this out, talking about banking. February 1st, New Mexico opens up loan applications for micro businesses. So if you are a minority-owned business, right, in the cannabis or hemp space, okay, in New Mexico, February 1st, 2022, they are actually starting to take in applications because they're opening up loans. Okay, another point. If there's no banking, how are they getting the money out to these companies? Okay, I guess they think we were born yesterday. But anyways, that's another subject. But the loan terms for New Mexico, mind you, will be up to 5 years. The interest rates will vary anywhere from 2 to 3%. That's not a bad thing, right? Because if we were in the traditional industry and you were actually getting an SBA loan, right, an EIDL loan even, right, then you'll probably be paying anywhere from 3 to 3.5% interest. So that's not a bad thing. The problem I have with this whole situation with New Mexico, and mind you, New Mexico, I'm not knocking you. We're grateful, right? We're really grateful that you're doing something like this, that you're offering something, right? Something is better than nothing. But how is it that you want a percentage? You want to give them a loan and get a percentage of equity in their business? I'm kind of confused. The loan and equity, and why both? I'm not understanding. Is that not predatory? I don't know, y'all go figure that out. Anyways, but something to ponder, right? Now, in more news, federal cannabis legalization in the US set for 2022. So I read an article this morning in Invest in Cannabis online, okay? And it states that the US federal government has moved closer to cannabis legalization in a very surprising way. It went on to say that in the way that the international market is moving, it proves that President Biden and his administration will make the historic move to federally legalize cannabis in 2022. Now, according to this article, the comments and the recent actions by the current administration have demonstrated that cannabis legalization at the federal level, it's on its way. So could it be that Mexico is getting set to legalize cannabis? What about Germany taking the lead in the European market, right? And then what about Jamaica? Jamaica has made it a priority to legalize cannabis and the exportation into Europe. They're making it a priority. So the global cannabis legalization is really going to pressure the United States to act really quickly towards federal legalization. And here's the thing, are we really ready, right? There's been so much pushback. Has anyone been getting ready for federal legalization during this whole pushback situation? And what if President Biden does decide, what if that administration does decide to legalize for federally? Are we really ready? Right? Are the states ready? I mean, some of these states can't even get the state system program together. Heck, they don't even have a lot of the social equity together right there in the states. So are we really ready for federal legalization? I mean, we keep asking for it. We know that we want it, right? We know that it's inevitable. But if the states can't get it together on a statewide basis, I want y'all to think about that. How the heck are we gonna get it together federally? Like, I mean, seriously, guys, we have to think about that. Who's preparing? And which states are preparing really for federal legalization? And then what model is there going to be? I don't know about you, but I really want to hear something about it. Anyways, enough of my soapbox. Okay, because y'all know I can go, right? All right. So anyways, I want to congratulate a couple of companies. So I know you guys see me. I'm wearing my Noted. This is my Noted jersey with my N on it. Y'all can see Noted right here. Go to noted.info, info. That is the next WebMD in the cannabis space. For those of you who do not know about Noted, go to noted.info. And if you are an accredited investor, they are raising capital. Y'all need to reach out to Ashley and to Nydia, but go to noted.info for more information. And then I want to do a special shout out and congratulations to Dr. Elizabeth Hughes. We had her on the show a few months ago. She has launched her CBD scalp oil, Beyond Dermatologics. So go to beyonddermatologics.com for more details on how you can support her and your skin by purchasing a bottle for yourself. When we return, you guys, we're going to learn more about Keyston Franklin and his journey into the cannabis industry when we return. In the meantime, tag some of your friends who you think could benefit from this episode. We'll be back right after this brief commercial.
We're very proud to be NCIA members. We've been members for the last 3 years, and I gotta say, every event, every conference, every get together that's sponsored by NCIA is a good opportunity, not just to meet others in the industry, obviously, but really to talk about the industry as a whole, where it's going, where it's been, our challenges to date.
We feel really grateful to NCIA for including us in the educational tracks the last 3 years. We've been at every seed to sale and most of the shows on the West Coast.
Every time we're here, I always have a sense that it's not just another one of these industry conferences, that it's actually that it is the industry's lobbying arm, and that it's an organization that is protecting all of us and fighting for the legal future that we all need.
At the end of the day, the most important and impactful thing for us is the community. It's really about the people that NCIA brings together, and the events like this one that NCIA organizes for us to gather.
If you're in this industry, NCIA is trying to influence it positively for you. If you're not speaking up, if you're not participating in committees, you're missing out on a huge window. Everyone wants change. Well, this is one of the ways you do it.
You don't have to be a member of the NCIA. You could just do nothing and let them do everything for you and fix all the problems that need to be fixed for the industry to work properly, and you could just sit on the sidelines. That would be fine, but it'd be better if you were a member.
Guys, we are back with Keyston Franklin. He is the co-founder of Cannabis, of Gallantri Industries and Halo Holdings Group. Keyston is a Florida native who comes from a family of civil servants. He's a post 9/11 veteran with over 10 years experience in finance, insurance, and tax consulting. And ladies, he is already married, so get that out your head, all right? He is the co-founder and the operator of Gallantri Industries. Keyston believes that cannabis will improve not only the nation's economy, but will help rebuild communities and improve our community's quality of life. His focus is on access and resources for cannabis license holders and those seeking to enter the industry. So Keyston is the vice chair also of the NCIA's Banking and Financial Services Committee. So here to share his cannabis story with us is Keyston Franklin. Hi, Keyston. Welcome to the Cannabis Minority Report podcast. How are you today?
Hi, Khadijah. Thank you for having me. I'm doing well.
Good. You are married, right?
Yes, I am. I am. A
All
beautiful
right.
wife and two beautiful daughters as well.
Absolutely. So, hey, tell us more about your background and the type of work that you did prior to coming into the industry.
Oh, okay. Well, how far back do you want me to go? Is it,
Yeah.
uh,
So, yeah, go back to what was the industry that you were in
right.
before you moved into the cannabis space?
Right. So I was in two spaces actually, and they kind of fit into each other, intersected. I was in a nonprofit space, and then I was also in asset management. And so what I did in finance and asset management is help individuals and also businesses with structuring, their capital, their investments, and planning, for the future. And so in a nonprofit space, I ran a veterans nonprofit. We're still operational today, and we help veterans with our service members and veterans as they transition from military service into civilian lifestyle. And so taking that expertise I have in finance and tax, my focus at that time, and still is financial literacy within the veteran community and within all communities. So I got to that space. Originally, my father was an accountant, tax, did with tax in the city of Tallahassee and then also in Florida. So I just grew up with it. And then over the years, even in university and then running restaurants in the university, to pay for for college and school, I found a liking to finance and tax. And so, yeah, that's the space that I was prior to getting into the cannabis industry. And it was an easy pivot and step into the cannabis industry as well.
Well, I tell you what, accounting just goes way over my head, and the whole tax situation that goes way over my head. I really like the idea of just deploying capital, right? I like having a CPA and somebody saying, no, you can't do this. Yes, you can.
Right.
You know what I mean? But my hat's off to you, because that's talking about using that part of the brain that a lot of us haven't exercised that particular muscle before, so
Right.
so tell us about why cannabis, since you were in the finance and accounting before. Why cannabis?
Well, honestly, cannabis saved my life. Or, I believe it saved my life and it definitely improved the quality of my life. As I was transitioning out of service, my last news station was out in California, and I physical injuries, and I literally fell down, and while holding my firstborn, she was maybe about 6 months old, and because my back locked up and just inflammation, it slipped disc, four slip disc, and
Wow.
I rolled over, just to make sure she was protected. My wife came and got her, and after that, it was like, okay, well, I gotta go see the doc. The doc's like, oh, well, we can do surgeries. I'm like, at the time, mid 30s, early 30s, it was like, I'm not going to do back surgery. And so they give me a whole bunch of different drugs, lidocaine, patches, hydrocortisone, all sorts of things. And it was just the fog that I was just experiencing, in my life just to get through the day. And one of my mentors, Vietnam veteran, he said, hey, I plan to heal you. And I was like, what?
Wow.
And he said it, and so he gave me a little bit of CBD, and literally within 3 days, it was night and day. The fog was gone, the inflammation in my body was gone, and it changed my life. And I'm not gonna go down what the path of injuries that people or veterans go through, but I was headed down that path, and I'm glad that that introduction and education of what hemp and cannabis can do to a body was done to me. And so I became John the Baptist. I told all my friends, all my veterans, all my service members, that, hey, I know what you're doing. We serve together. This is what it did to my body. No medical claims, but this it can see if it takes any changes for your body, and it did. And then so when you're looking at the space, we got into retail. There's a company that was allowing you to do online retail back for 2016, 2017. And then the Farm Bill passed, rescheduled like hemp. And so we said, hey, we got to get into this. We looked at it, did our research, dug in. And then same thing with cannabis as it started to open up in the state that I was going back into, which was in Illinois.
Mhm.
And as I looked at the space, from a numerical and financial perspective, it's like, well, this is a very lucrative business, one, but it also, provides challenges, which for, an individual like me I love challenges in this service. We love challenges. It's like, well, there provides some opportunity that we can overcome some of these obstacles, do some good, serve, and then also be a part of a new budding industry and actually change some policy, as we go along the way. So that's how I got into the cannabis industry, both on the health and wellness side, and then also the opportunity to, affect change in policy in this industry, where not everyone's, actively engaging and playing in this
Mhm.
space.
Yeah, and that's very true, and with veterans, I mean, I love what you guys are doing with veterans. And what branch of the service were you in, Keyston?
The only branch, Army. Everyone else is support, but I love all my service members. Yeah, I have family members who serve in all branches, except for Space Force. I don't have anyone yet in Space Force, but yeah, I was Army.
Got it. Well, thank you for your sacrifice. A lot of people say thank you for your service. I like to say thank you for your sacrifice. We appreciate you a lot. So, you are the founder of three separate businesses
Mhm.
right in this space, in hemp and cannabis. And let's talk about Gallantri Industries. What type of company is Gallantri, and what services do you offer? And who's your target audience?
Mhm. Yes. So Gallantri Industries, were veteran and minority-owned hemp and cannabis company, and Gallantri, we seek to empower veterans and communities through hemp and cannabis operations and with this industry. And we do that by so cannabis and hemp regulated by the state. It's not federally regulated. And so we go in and take our expertise because of the experience that we have in certain professions, also into the cannabis space, and we partner up with community members or veterans who want to get into the hemp and cannabis space. So everything from writing applications to building out financial models, to even to operations and consulting within our fold within Gallantri. We have over 20 years of experience, just on that cannabis and hemp front. So that's Gallantri in a nutshell.
Yeah, so let me ask you, because you said build financial models. So let's say I am a small business and I have put together my business plan, but I don't know or quite understand the financial piece to my business plan. Would it be your company that I would reach out to and say, hey, I need help putting together a financial model for my business?
Yes, so we can do the financial model, or we can match you with a particular representative or CPA or a veteran partner that we have in that state. But yes, when it comes to building out that financial model and understanding, the mechanics. And I love finance because if you're in the finance, you learn everything about a business. The same thing in tax. Every nook and cranny, every product that's being sold, every transaction or event, or even ad that goes out, it still has some monetary or currency, intersection that's going to
Mhm.
happen. But yes, so they could reach out to Gallantry, and we learn a little bit about the business. The very first thing is to understand the business and where they want the business to go, and then you create a model based upon that the trajectory, or what they envision, and even also give some insights from a professional or financial perspective of where this business might have some collaborative or pivot opportunities to support other revenue streams or other aspects of their passion, when it's not just their cannabis business. There might be other passions that they might not even think that are related. But yes, for doing that financial model process, you can flesh that out and then really frame and focus in the business capabilities and be able to articulate it. That's the main thing. Is
Mhm.
once you have your business model, we'll be able to show and say, well, this is how you tell about your business from a financial perspective, talking
Mhm.
about your assumptions and why you made these assumptions, and being able to show how, your cash flow and your profits and loss work within your business to show the value of individuals. Because at the end of the day, it's about investing, right? People want money. You want to learn the finances. You want to understand the finances, see what money's coming in, what's going out. And then if you need more capital, well, you want to be able to get that capital from individuals. And that exchanges, they have to understand, what their capital is going to do, and then how they're going to get their return on their investment, from the deploying or entrusting you with their capital. So yes, we're able to help make sure that understanding that that business or their business from a financial perspective, they feel comfortable with it.
Yeah.
It's easy.
Yeah, and that's, as an investor, and I've heard so many people pitch their companies and all of that. That's really what investors want to know. Investors want to know that the CEO or whomever is pitching, the entrepreneur, understands their business model and understands how much money they need, what they're going to use it for, and how the investor is going to get their money back. And so I say that's a really good service to offer, especially new entrepreneurs coming into this industry as well. So tell me, why is having access to safe banking in the cannabis industry a priority for you?
Oh, it's priority for me. I think any minority looking at getting the business, and any person looking at starting their own business, safe banking is immensely important in the cannabis space alone. Because you're in two boats at the end of the day. Either you have capital to support your business, or you don't have capital, and you need to get some capital. Traditional businesses, you are allowed to go out to a bank or to an SBA, and then put in a request for capital. And they look at your business model, look at your financials, look at the space and industry. It's like, oh, okay, well, I trust that you're going to be successful and be able to return this capital at X amount of interest rate. Cannabis industry, it's different. You can't just go to a regular bank because of federal reschedule. You can't just say, hey, I have this business idea. I need $100,000. I want to put up, some equity or my house or some other assets or whatnot, to secure this capital, and then, to build out this business, because they're only, because there's no federal regulation or legislation in there. And so you're stuck with these smaller banks in the state or in particular charters. Yeah. And so that makes it a little bit difficult because of the cannabis space. You're looking at the same traditional overhead expenses that you would have in a regular business. You're looking at building, the office space. You're looking at admin. You still have to pay people, your furniture, and then with cannabis being highly regulated, cost is going to be a lot higher in some of the operational process. That your normal deployment of capital in a traditional business, you wouldn't feel it as much. And then you have another segment of tax where you aren't going to get as many traditional business deductions in the cannabis space. Yeah. So having a place or a financial institution, or the opportunity to go to a financial institution and then support your business as you would in a traditional business, as a regular entrepreneur, is extremely important for minorities and veterans getting into the space. So yeah.
I agree 100%. And that kind of ties into the next question, that is, what does social equity mean to you, and how is social equity relevant in banking? And I think you kind of tied that in, because it's really about, to me, allowing these companies, to actually play on a level playing field, if you will. But my whole thing with it, Keyston, is the fact that even though it's not federally legal, I get that, right? There's no federal regulations. I get that, but we still have to pay taxes.
Yeah.
Like we still have to pay taxes. So what do you mean? It's like, okay, well, we can do it, but y'all can't do it, is basically what the government is saying to us.
Essentially. And that's the whole idea of, social equity is what it's supposed to be. You take the two words social, you're thinking society, organization, and that sort of buy-in. And then the equity aspect, a little stake in the game So you would think social equity was that, everyone who wants to be part of the cannabis industry can be. That's not the case. And so they had to spell it out, So social equity to me is level, creating that space or an opportunity, or moving obstacles or whatever that needs to be done so that individuals, society, all members of society, despite their social status, economic status, where they're living at or what they've experienced, can actually engage in this industry that some individuals are making millions and millions and billions of dollars, including the government as well, and we still have to pay for it. So
Yeah.
that's my thoughts of social equity is it's all inclusive. And if it's not, then we do a little bit more work.
Oh yeah, yeah, and it's a lot of work to be done, and that's why I was saying it. When I was doing the news segment part, is that we still have a lot of work to do. I mean, we want it to be federally legal. We want this industry to be, cannabis to be federally legal. But really, are we really there yet? Like, are we really ready for that yet? And so that's some of the things that I think about, because some of these states, they don't even have the social equity piece done. They don't even have, they don't even have that done. So for the government to come out and say, okay, well, what if they did come out Monday, Tuesday, next week, whenever, and say, okay, great, we're just going to federally legalize this straight across the board. Now you're going to have, you think it's the Wild Wild West, it's really going to be,
right.
So it's all about being ready. So let me ask you, what is your major focus as it relates to access for other Black people entering the cannabis industry?
Wow. Our focus right now with Gallantri, and has been, is creating a space, just because of some of the challenges that we had to, overcome and understand getting into this cannabis industry. We wanted to make sure that those challenges were not barriers of entry. So, our focus right now is getting licenses in states, partnering up with various community members, and then also veterans who want to get in this space, who may not have the expertise all themselves. We don't have it all ourselves. That's what Gallantri Industries, we have partners to, we can piecemeal together, or we can work together. As we say in the military, more hands make heavy lifting light. So when it comes to getting into the cannabis industry, there's no reason why anyone who has an inkling to run a business or operate a business cannot do it successfully in the cannabis space. The economics shouldn't be an issue. The expertise in writing an application, or what needs to be done on the back end after being awarded that application and operating that business, none of these things, they should be like, oh, it shouldn't be an issue. You should be able to say, well, I want to do this. I think this might work. And then we'll partner up and create that space along with it.
Wow, I like that. I like the partner up part.
Yes.
How we could either piecemeal it together, we come together and make this thing happen. So I really like that. Which to me is the best way, especially in this industry. So what advice would you give new entrepreneurs entering into the space?
Wow. The first thing is, I would say, wherever you decide to be in that space, learn the state regulations about that space. Learn your area of operations, how your parameters that you can operate in, what the state's requiring of you. Learn a little bit more about the industry, maybe some neighboring states, and kind of look at some best practices. That's the very first thing. And then, the next thing, it's anything else, traditional business. It's a business, it's your dream. Anything that it's your baby, anything that you need to do to make sure it's protected, to make sure that it's growing and it's, realizing its fullest potential, do that and then more. And the last thing is just, don't quit. You don't quit on your baby, right? Don't quit on your dream. So many people quit on their dreams because it gets hard or no one believes in them. You believe in it. That's all that matters, and then you keep pushing in, and you'll find that other people believe into it. Or if you keep your eyes open and you're recognizing opportunity, you'll see opportunities to where your dream might be the keystone or the linchpin or into someone else's dream being successful and moving forward. So those are my three things, I guess, that I remind myself.
Yeah. Yeah, because a lot of people believe that this is, especially new people, and it never ceases to fail, and it doesn't surprise me anymore. They come into the industry and you think it's a get rich quick industry, and I'm gonna go ahead and, get this idea out there, and I'm gonna make millions of dollars in 3 or 4 months or 6 months. When they haven't earned those millions, they're like, it didn't work, and I'm just gonna go back home or whatever. And it's like, guy, like, dude, you only been doing this for like 6 months. You haven't seen anything yet. Like there's different, what do they call it, seasons, right, in business. And so you got to be willing to stay the course. So yeah, thank you for that. So how can people actually reach out to you, Keyston? How can they get in touch with you if they want to hire you, if they want to just have a conversation with you? Where can they reach you?
Oh, yes, you can reach me at, go to our website, gallantryindustries.com. That's Gallantry with an I, and then also info@gallantryindustries.com, or you can email me directly, Keyston@gallantryindustries.com.
Fantastic. All right. So super excited to have you here. Thank you so much. Would love to have you back on the show so we can find out the progress of your company and where you are in the next few months. Is there anything that you need, that your company needs right now, that now would be a great time to let the audience know? What are your current needs right now? Are you guys raising capital? Are you looking for business partners? Are you hiring?
Right. Well, we're all of the above, actually. So we're raising capital for some of our projects. One of the new licenses we put out is in New Mexico, and then we're coming up on New Jersey here shortly, and then also in Florida. But we're also looking at partners in other states as well. And then with these new licenses that we put in, we'll be looking for individuals to operate in the space, as well as train individuals who seek to operate in that space as well. So all of the above.
All right. Well, you guys heard him now. If you are an investor out there, if you have something to bring to the table of Gallantri Industries, y'all reach out to Keyston Franklin. You can find him either on LinkedIn. You can find him at his website, GallantryIndustries.com, or info@GallantryIndustries.com, or even Keystone at GallantryIndustries.com. All right. So thank you so much for being with us. We'll definitely have you back. Thanks so much. Hey, y'all, don't forget to subscribe to the Cannabis Minority Report podcast. You can find us on Spotify, Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, or any of your favorite platforms. So if you'd like for us to produce or actually highlight your products or your company right here on our podcast, or if you want to run your company's 30-second or 1-minute commercial during our show, be sure to inbox me at info@khadijahadams.com or inbox my producer, Vince, at thecannabisindustry.org. We'll be back right after these messages.
So we're very proud to be NCIA members. We've been members for the last 3 years, and I gotta say, every event, every conference, every get together that's sponsored by NCIA is a good opportunity, not just to meet others in the industry, obviously, but really to talk about the industry as a whole, where it's going, where it's been, our challenges to date.
We feel really grateful to NCIA for including us in the educational tracks the last 3 years. We've been at every seed to sale and most of the shows on the West Coast.
Every time we're here, I always have a sense that it's not just another one of these industry conferences, that it's actually that it is the industry's lobbying arm, and that it's an organization that is protecting all of us and fighting for the legal future that we all need.
At the end of the day, the most important and impactful thing for us is the community. It's really about the people that NCIA brings together, and the events like this one that NCIA organizes for us to gather.
If you're in this industry, NCIA is trying to influence it positively for you. If you're not speaking up, if you're not participating in committees, you're missing out on a huge window. Everyone wants change. Well, this is one of the ways you do it.
You don't have to be a member of the NCIA. You could just do nothing and let them do everything for you and fix all the problems that need to be fixed for the industry to work properly, and you could just sit on the sidelines. That would be fine, but it'd be better if you were a member.
you guys, don't forget to check out the NCIA's member news blog and the industry insights that actually includes our NCIA member spotlight series. We feature some of our members of the NCIA and what they are actually doing in the industry, how they are benefiting in the industry. And some of these people have actually joined through our social equity scholarship program. And so you don't want to miss our member spotlight, okay? Give them shout out and also show them some support. And don't forget to download the NCIA's mobile app. Yep, we do have a mobile app. You get to keep up with the latest news and updates from the NCIA and what is going on as it relates to policy in this industry with the NCIA. And then we want to do a special shout out to our DEI program sponsors of 2021. And if you're looking to sponsor for 2022, reach out to Vince at thecannabisindustry.org or reach out to the NCIA directly. So special shout out to the law offices of Omar Figueroa. You know, we love you over here. Also the Tahoe Wellness Center, the People's Ecosystem, as well as a therapeutic alternative, Forefront, Coronas Group, El Caption Advisors, and Nice Guys Delivery. So if you would like to be a sponsor of the Cannabis Minority Report podcast, feel free to reach out to me directly at info@khadijahadams.com. The mission of the DEIC committee is to educate, to advocate, to engage and empower the community of cannabis, its members, by cultivating partnerships with other nonprofit organizations with similar goals, providing resources that create and also sustains an environment that is inclusive, that is equitable, and is diverse. We are committed to building a culture that respects our members, celebrates their contributions as we all work together to strengthen all communities in the cannabis space. Until next Monday, y'all, peace, love, and hippie stuff.
NCIA's Cannabis Minority Report is a product of the National Cannabis Industry Association and NCIA's Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee. We are hosted every week by Khadijah Adams. Our executive producers are Aaron Smith and Vince Chandler. We are directed by Vince Chandler and produced by Bethany Moore. Please, please, please find out everything you can about the growing and equitable cannabis industry at thecannabisindustry.org.